Hey everybody, so take the glasses off and look right there into the lens. Look at my left eye, this one. Probably looks normal, right? But it's not. It's messed up. So I did a video on this yesterday and I made it unlisted and I only provided the link to paid subscribers over on Patreon. I'll make this one a public video. Everybody can check it out. But here's the deal. And I'm going to try to keep it under 10 minutes because this is, you know, rant-filled country that I'm going to be traipsing through here. But under normal circumstances, I make too much money to qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, but not nearly enough to actually purchase private insurance. So in one respect, I'm kind of lucky that what's happened has happened during COVID, because last year I learned that the state of Vermont was approving everybody who applied for Medicaid during COVID. So I applied and I got on. And now my eye is messed up. The two events are not related. I'm just saying it's lucky. I'm in a lucky circumstance that I actually have, you know, medical coverage when this happened. And this is totally normal, I'm told. The vitreous in our eyes. When I was growing up, they called it vitreous humor. Nobody ever seems to say humor anymore. I guess it sounds too medieval. But the vitreous in your eyes over time, and when you're young, it's pressed up firmly against your retina. And then as you get older, the shape changes. I don't know if it's contracting or liquefying. I forget what it is. But it pulls away from the retina. And I had both of my eyes photographed with this high-tech equipment today, and my right eye apparently separated some time ago with no problem. So, you know, there's clearly a space between the vitreous and the retina in my right eye, but I can see out of my right eye just fine. I mean, yeah, I wear glasses, but, you know, aside from nearsightedness, I can see fine. It's very clear. My left eye, apparently, it just separated this last Sunday, because Saturday night I went to bed, my vision was, you know, relatively fine. I wake up and it's messed up. So it happened in my sleep, apparently. I've received no head trauma that I recall. You know, of course. There's no visible wounds either. I mean, I have no reason to believe that I've suffered any head trauma. It just, you know, the shape of my eye changed over time, and it popped last Sunday. And there's blood and, you know, bits of tissue from the back of the eye that are now floating around in the eye, which messes up my vision. I'm told, I've seen a doctor already once today. I'm going to a different doctor later today because they have better equipment. They're going to get a more detailed picture of where the damage is in my eye, and then I'm going to have surgery. I don't know when that's going to be, but it'll be a laser surgery. I asked the doctor if I could be awake for the whole thing, and she said she thought so, but she wasn't the one who was going to be performing it, so she couldn't say for sure. I've been under general anesthesia 4 times, and it sucks. It sucks. I don't like it, and I never want to do it again if I can avoid it. So here's the thing. I'm on Medicaid. The state of Vermont, the taxpayers of the state of Vermont are paying for my care. I should not be one whit ungrateful, you know. But this happened on Tuesday. I got in to see a doctor across the parking lot here on Tuesday. He's not an eye doctor. He didn't really do anything. I mean, an assistant took my blood pressure, asked me if what medications I was taking. But really, I received no care there. I described my symptoms to him, and he said, yep, you need to see an eye doctor. Oh, yeah, of course, I need to see an eye doctor. So he refers me to a clinic in Springfield, Vermont, which is the next town north of here. It takes 10 minutes to drive there. 15 maybe. And he told me that office would call me, you know, to set an appointment. Well, they didn't. And so the next day I called them. It turns out their office is closed on Wednesday, so I couldn't get through to them. So I called them again yesterday. And I said, hey, this is a pretty serious situation. When can you get me in? They said, oh, middle of October. So I reiterated, you know, what I thought the urgency was. And the person that I spoke to on the phone was very nice. You know, she's just doing her job. She says, well, the doctor in Bellows Falls didn't say it was urgent. So I said, okay, I'm going to call the doctor in Bellows Falls again and try to impress upon him the urgency of the situation and see if he'll pass that along to you. And she says, yeah, if the doctor says it's urgent, we can see you right away. So I'm not usually like this. I'm usually the type of person to avoid conflict. But push me far enough and a different personality arises. So, I called the medical center here in Bellows Falls. I said, look, I came in with this pressing issue. I never used the word urgent. But I said it was pressing, it was time sensitive, and I said I would really appreciate it if the doctor would amend his recommendation to include some sense of urgency. That's the closest I came to saying the word urgent on the phone. And the person that I spoke to said, yeah, I'll pass that along to the doctor. And I'm thinking, oh, God, she's not really going to pass it along, is she? But the eye doctor up in Springfield called me this morning. When I was walking down to the drop-in center to get some breakfast, I got a call from them, and they said, we have an opening at 10:30. There's somebody else scheduled for them, but we think we can, tag team you and get at least an initial assessment done. And she mentioned that, the doctor here in Bellows Falls did call and did say that it was urgent. I just had to press. So I got in today. I'm going to see another doctor later today. I don't know when the surgery will be, and the doctor didn't make any promises. She didn't say you're going to be fine. She didn't say we can fix it. So I'm kind of reading between the lines here, but the impression that I got from her was that this is not it's a real thing and it's serious enough to treat, quickly, but it's not, it happens. This happens to everybody. Everybody's, as they get older, the vitreous in their eye pulls away from the retina. Sometimes there is some tearing and bleeding when that happens, and that's what's happened in my case. But I'm just thinking about people in my situation. I mean, there's not many people in my situation. As far as I can tell, I'm kind of an outlier in a lot of different ways in terms of how I make my living and, where I live and how I got here. It's all, very tied up in an idiosyncratic personal path. But people on Medicaid in Vermont, if you're not the type of person to speak back to authority, if you're not the type of person to say, I'm sorry, but that's not good enough, let's try something better. I mean, if I were just in that mode, I would be sitting here not knowing what's wrong with my eye, possibly with it getting worse for another 2 weeks or more. So it's working out for me, it's a problem. And I'm not saying Medicare for all, although I wouldn't mind. I certainly wouldn't object. I'm not saying I have some policy proposal that's an absolute fix. It's just when you enter into the medical profession, I mean, not as a practitioner, but as a patient, when you enter into that system, it's just so authoritarian and it's so technocratic. The doctors know best and you don't know shit. Maybe it's different if you have private insurance. And as I said in yesterday's video, maybe you have a high status job with the really gold-plated first-class private insurance, in which case maybe you do have a choice. Maybe you can call around to different doctors and, get the one who talks to you the way you want to be talked to, and it still gets paid for. That's not what it's like for somebody on Medicaid. Hey everybody, there have been developments. So there's a long rant in this video that I'm cutting out to make room for news. So I went to see a second eye doctor today here in Bellows Falls, and he had nicer, fancier equipment, and he took these pictures of my eye, and he found a tear in my retina right away. Didn't take much investigation, it's pretty obvious. And a surgeon from Dartmouth-Hitchcock just called. Dartmouth, the rich kid school up in Hanover, New Hampshire. They have a famous medical program there and a well-regarded hospital, and I'm going to be getting eye surgery there tomorrow. So wish me luck. All right, talk to you later.